Hi, how are you, my younger brothers? I'm your elder brother, Kiran Roy. Today, I bring to you a wonderful topic which was asked to me by one of my subscribers. He had asked me yesterday that does it make sense to plan a child in 2025, or is it a good idea to plan a child at present times? So, firstly, I would like to applaud you for your brilliant question. And all of you, whoever are watching my video, you can feel free to ask me such questions. It would always be my honor to make a dedicated video on the same. I will always address it to the best of my abilities, and that's my promise. So, basically, now bringing a child to the world is no longer a biological activity, it's an emotional, moral, and it's like it has completely become a different activity now. It is now more of an emotional, financial and moral activity now. It's no longer a biological activity which it used to be until one point in time. There was a time where it was just a biological activity. Wherever you ask your parents, your grandparents, they would term it as a biological activity. They would have never used the word that it's an emotional activity, it's a financial activity, it's a moral activity. But at today's times, I would like to use these words more than biology. Now, had you asked your father, it was purely a biological activity. My father, purely biological activity. Our grandfathers, even more. The case was even more when it came to biological. But now it is not just biological. It is now completely financial, emotional and moral activity. So to understand what I'm trying to say, you can watch till the end. If you get any benefit whatsoever from my video, do consider giving a super thanks, because each and every rupee out of that will go for the orphan kids, for the orphan kids of Chembur Children's Home, with whom I'm associated since the past 26 years. You can definitely take the Be Millionaire course in my English channel. This is going to take your finances and your financial intelligence rather to the next level. And you can book a 1:1 with me. If you wish to have a counseling session with me, you can definitely book a 1:1 with me by DMing me in Instagram. And if you wish to give any direct benefit to me, you can definitely drop a 5-star rating for my guitar academy, which is Kiran Roy's Guitar Studio in Google. So coming back to the point, the world isn't what it used to be. Now you can see everywhere that there is a tremendous pressure on the available resources. Big time population explosion has happened in our part of the world, especially like in our part of the subcontinent. People are more than insects, you can say. Just go to any railway station. I'm not talking about the stations of the cities. Like a few years before, I had gone to West Bengal in my hometown. So as I went by train, because I told my cousin that I want to go by train, because every time I used to take me in taxi or in your car, but I want to go into the interiors on a train to see how people live. I just wanted to have an idea about my hometown in the interiors, not in the Calcutta city. So we went by train, and what I saw, I was under the impression that as the train goes into the interior, the population will become sparse. That's what you think, right? People who stay in the city, because we are used to the crowds. So we think if we go more inside, the crowd will become less. But to my utter dismay, I was stunned to see the more I'm going inside, the more crowded it is getting. Everywhere I'm seeing the crowd is getting more, the more I'm going inside. So I was like stunned, like people exist in such names, the name of the stations which I've never heard in my entire lifetime. And I'm sure nobody even knows about those stations. Even there, people are like cramming like insects. I was like, my goodness, so many people. Then I understood why is India the number one populated country in the world, because even in the small places which the names also nobody must have heard, there are like lakhs of people living there. I wonder what do they do for a living, how do they earn, because there are no offices, there is nothing, no industries, nothing. How do so many people even earn their daily bread? That was what I was asking my cousin, man, what do they do? Everybody, there are so many people, everybody can't go to the city and find a job, right? They must be doing something else. So I was like completely curious about how do they even manage. There are so many people. Suppose if there are 100 jobs, there are like bloody crores of people. How can they feed themselves? How can they even feed themselves was my first question. So my point is resources are limited and people are more. Big time toll is being taken on the resources. That is my first point. Second, climate change. As I said, our topic is the world is not how it used to be. So first is extreme toll on resources. Second is a extreme climatic change you can see now. The climate is not what it used to be. Now, not only the heating has increased everywhere and every part of you can consider our own country. In Mumbai city where I stay, now the heat quotient has increased. I'm not talking about the summers. In summer, every year it used to be that much. I mean, it always used to be warm. I agree. But now check out the overall temperature. It is always high, even during the so-called winters. It is high. I remember when we were kids during while like when I was in third standard, fourth standard, fifth standard rather, fifth and sixth. Because when I was in third and fourth, I was not in Mumbai. I was abroad. I came to Mumbai when I was in sixth standard. So when I was in sixth standard, I remember when I had to go to the school during winters. All of us were given. I mean, I mean, we had a uniform, right? So in the uniform, even we were supposed to wear a blue colored jacket, a blue colored sweater, basically. A blue colored pullover was our uniform. So up till we were in sixth standard, we used to wear a sweater in Mumbai city in the school. But after that, that completely got like after sixth, nobody wore a sweater ever. I so before sixth, because though I came at six, so when I asked my classmates, they said until sixth standard it used to be cold, but after that we don't feel the, I mean, after that nobody wore after that. So the bottom line is till sixth in Mumbai we still required the need for wearing a sweater in the school, but after that nobody ever wore and that became obsolete. The blue color sweater became completely obsolete. So what does that imply? That the temperature even during winters had increased. So that is the case everywhere. You know, global warming is definitely a case. And due to global warming, I don't need to explain you more. You know about the ice melting and everything. So let's not get into that. But one thing is for sure, climatic change is at its all-time high, and that is definitely doing its job. And now also came the AI disruption. Due to AI, majority of the jobs has been wiped out. You you guys are even more. I mean, guys who are in corporate, who are in this segment, they must be having even more idea than me because I'm a musician. I'm just an entrepreneur. You must be having even more idea about what I'm trying to say. So I'm not getting into that detail, but you very well know that this point is definitely an important point. As per my psychology, that thing is definitely going to play a big part. So overall, what I mean to say, the world is not what it used to be. Earlier, the transportation was good. People could easily go find a space in the train. I'm talking about the general population. I'm not talking about the rich class because the rich class is very less who can go by cars. Because in my entire life, as I said, like I never had to go in a local train or any public. I never had to take a public transport. I've tried them out of curiosity, but I never had to use them as my daily commute. I always had a car at my disposal ever since I was like a child. So I was fortunate enough never to depend on public transport ever, though I've tried them. So, but I agree that that is just say 1 or 2% of the population. Everybody else will have to depend on public transport. And all of you very well know the tremendous load which is there on the public transport. And I'm not just talking about Mumbai city. Mumbai city, it's what folklores are made of. It's completely famous. But even you go to any other city for that matter, go to Bangalore, go to Delhi, go to Chennai, go to Kolkata for that matter. My goodness, tremendous load on the public infrastructure. So the world definitely is not what it used to be, is what I mean to say. Is what I mean to say. So I'll be giving you all the points. I'll be laying out all the points in front of you so that by the end of the video, you would be in a good position to make your decision yourself. I'm not here to make the decision. I'm a truth seeker. My job is to bring out the truth and keep it in front of you. And the final decision will always be yours. In all of my videos, that's what I try to do. The layout, bring out my research and keep it in front of you. Then you make your decision. Who is stopping you? All right. So this was my first point. The world is not as it used to be. So listen to each and every point that I'm saying. That in the end, I'll ask you one question. All right. So my brothers, ask yourself a question. Are you raising a child for the world as it is or as it is becoming? It's a very crucial question to ask. So definitely ask yourself this question. You can rewind this part again and check out what I just asked. This is going to be very crucial to make your final decision. This will come handy. My second point is, are you stable enough to bring a child? Are you stable enough to bring a child in the world, rather? So ask yourself this question, whether you are stable enough, and not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, physically, because that is where the real deal is. Because I'm a counselor, right? I'm counseling people since the past 20 years. Since the past 10 years, I'm counseling professionally by taking a fee. Before that, I used to counsel unprofessionally without taking any fee, because I have a chain of music academies and the bulk of my clients would be my own students. So I used to counsel my students basically, or whom they would refer. But since the past 10 years, my name spread far and wide, and people would consult me by paying a fee. So I'm in a very good position to know about the structure. And if I ask you what's the number one problem of depression, number one cause of depression amongst the men or even women, because even women had consulted me regarding this particular case which I'm talking about. The major, everybody will say, in fact, I have even made a Hindi video asking, are you guys aware what is the number one cause of depression in people nowadays? Many people replied, it's relationships, it's lack of jobs, it's climate pollution, all this, as in bad standard of living. I said no. The number one cause which I have personally seen from my 1:1, the number one cause is their parents' behavior or the pressures which their parents put. So what I mean to say by this point is, one must ask that, are you even capable of raising a child? Because our parents clearly were not. Because in their case, they would only think from one aspect, that is, am I financially capable or not? Your father, my father, even my father, I won't lie, even my father thought that it's only finances which is enough. He never invested in the emotional aspect, the mental aspect, the health aspect. They were never ever bothered about that. They just thought that I am making money, because my father is a very big industrialist. For those who are watching me for the first time, he has retired now, but that's what I'm saying, he was a very big industrialist. But he had to wrap up because nobody, not even my brother, not even me, not even my sister, nobody was keen on continuing with that business. So he had to wrap up. So now he's 81. So now he's in no condition to continue. But he worked till 75. He worked since the past 5 6 years. He took it slow and then he finally wrapped it up. So what I mean to say is, when I was growing up, the only thing in his mind was finances. He used to think that if I'm providing him with the money, not me, to my mother basically, because my mother raised us. My mother raised us brothers and sisters. But father had zero. I mean, apart from the finances, he did nothing. I don't even have one single memory where when he took us out for dinner, when he took us out for a vacation. He did take us out on vacations, but that was after when we grew up, as in when I was 20, 21. That time he did, because that time he took life a little bit easy, and that time we went for international holidays. Lots of foreign vacations he took me, but that was when I was 20, 21. But I'm talking about my childhood. During my childhood, I don't have a single memory of him being with us or taking us anywhere, because he used to think that work is everything, work is worship, and I'm paying the school fees, I'm sending them in the best international schools, I'm giving him the cars. Because yes, I cannot deny, I was the only guy in my school and college who used to have his own personal car. I don't wish to disclose the age, but I did start at a age when it was not legal also. So I had a car when it was completely illegal, and I had derived a license also, in spite of me being underage. I had a license, because if you have money, you can have everything in this country. So yes, he did give me the cars, the huge pocket money, the everything I got. And like like in abundance. I would say, not just the basic necessities. I got a life of luxury, no two ways about it. But what I mean to say is that finances are not everything. I did get the finances. I'm not denying that. But what about the mental aspect? What about the emotional aspect? What about the health aspect? So you must ask yourself now. Now the time is ripe for you to ask. But during our parents, as I said, during our parents' time, as I said in my first point, it was all about biology. It's a matter of biology, having kids. It was not a part of any other aspect. But now the aspects have changed. So now you should ask that apart from the finances, do you have the mental capability? Do you have the emotional capability? And do you have the health resources to pull it off? You should be asking this. And after that, if you get a favorable response, then you should, it's a lot of soul searching, I would say, not just mental calculations. Now, bringing and raising a child is lots of mental and emotional calculations which you'll need to do. So, this is one important question which you need to ask, that apart from finances, are you really capable? Because answer is going to be no for majority of the people, I can say. And my answer was no even for my own father. So my father, who is such a great person, still he failed in that department. Then how can you think that you will pass in that department? Because that time when I was born in 1980. So that time it was still feasible for us, because we guys were not exposed to technology. We guys learnt everything the hard way. We guys learnt it the old school way. Even the guitars which I learnt was the old school way. I'm the only amongst the last few people now who still teaches the lead guitars in the old school format. But otherwise, everybody has now got into AI and everything. But I'm still amongst the last few breed remaining who are teaching the actual old school rock lead guitars. So you can understand, because I learned it the old school way. So when I was born, that was still the era of the old school method of learning. So due to my old school method of learning, I could stand up in life. I am now completely, I stood up to such an extent that I'm even able to guide youngsters. I'm even able to guide the people who have just come, like who have just bloomed basically. I have updated myself to such an extent. That was courtesy my old school upbringing, because that time we had to learn and grind the actual way. But now, even to draft a comment, AI will make that comment for you and give you. Where is the hard work? Where is the requirement for a hard work? So that's why now the time has come to actually ask yourself that question, whether finances are enough, or are you ready, or are you capable when it comes to mental, emotional, and health? All these three factors you should be asking yourself. Remember, broken parents creates broken children. Self mastery must come first. So we were lucky to be born in an era when our parents were very strong. I actually belong to that era, which I'm sure whoever are of my age group, I'm 1980 born, all of you are fortunate enough to have got strong parents, because that era consisted of masculine men and feminine women. That was primarily the reason, because my father was extremely masculine, mother was extremely feminine, and that's exactly how it was supposed to be. But as times progressed, men became emasculated and women became masculine. And the children who are getting born in such a scenario are they are taking the worst beating today. Just go, because when I go to drop my kids to school, or sometimes I go for their parents teacher meeting and everything, I see all ladies coming. They are all like bodyguards. They are all masculine, and their husbands, they are all like pure epitome of simps. They don't look, most of them are my age. Most of them are my age group, naturally. But nobody looks my age. I'm the youngest of them all. They all look bloody 10, 15 years elder to me, and at the same time effeminate. Like, there is nothing called as masculinity, though many of those are even younger to me, but still they look like bloody 10, 15 years elder to me. Because when we talk, I tell them, they ask me, how old are you? I tell them I'm 44. They say, my goodness, I thought you were 31, 32. In fact, I'm 31. In fact, I'm 35. I thought you were younger to me, but you are like elder to me by 10 years. That they get stunned. So what I see, their wives are always mannish. Their wives are dominating. They are pulling the shot. They are shouting, "Hey, why are you sitting there? Come here!" Like that, they are treating the men I'm talking to. So now the tides have completely changed. Men are now completely effeminate. Women are males. So just imagine the plight of their children. That is what I'm asking you to do. Just imagine what kind of a children will, what kind of upbringing these kids are getting, be it a boy or a girl, when they see their mothers, their dominating and alpha male mothers. They are saying, "Hey, why are you sitting there and talking? Come here." Like that. I was actually saw this. I was speaking to one gentleman who was younger to me, but he looked 10 years elder to me, and out of the blue his wife shouted from the corner from across, "Hey, what are you sitting there and gossiping? Come here." So just imagine in front of me, if she can do that, what she might be doing in front of their kids, and what what effect will that create on the minds of such children. So this is one common case which is happening now, that women are getting masculine. In fact, they are not getting, they have got, because that's why I made lots of videos also regarding the same, which you guys, whoever are following me, they must be knowing. I made a very big disclosure also, that why men are getting emasculated. You can check out my video in my Hindi channel. So this is a big case. So now is absolutely not the right time when it comes to having strong parents, is what I mean to say. Because during up till my era, we got strong parents, but now is absolutely not the era of strong parents. But as I told you in my title, strong parents, kids, strong kids. But since now is not the era of strong parents, only you can imagine the plight of the children. So I've laid out the truth right in front of you in the table. It will be very easy for you to make the decision about the topic of today's video. My next crucial point is, kids aren't the extension of your ego. Kids are not supposed to fix your marriage. Kids are not a cure for your loneliness. Kids are not something which you're supposed to do just for the heck of it. You're getting the drift. Why I'm saying these words? Wherever you see, and this is not something which only me as a counselor have seen, but even you must have seen, majority of the people, just look around you, majority of the people around you are indulging in family planning only to fix their marriage. How many of you have seen this? I'm sure majority, in fact all of you must have seen this, that majority of the people, they are bringing or raising a child only to fix their marriage, since their marriage were on the docks. In fact, so many ladies of mine, I mean, you guys must not be aware, but 70% of my clients are women. So many ladies, they consulted me with the same subject, saying that we are having trouble in my marriage. But I think even my husband and my in-laws told me that if I get a child, if I like get pregnant, I mean, if we bring a child in the world, then that will fix our marriage. So what should I do? So many women approached me with this particular question. So many, I've lost count. So that's what I mean by saying that that's a common consensus everywhere. That suppose if you're going through a rotten marriage, they think that if they get a child in the world, then automatically their problems will vanish or their problems will fix. Let me tell you, children are not going to fix your bad marriage. If it was bad, there are ways to fix it, but you will have to address that root cause of it. You just cannot give birth to a child and expect your problems will vanish. That's not going to happen. If you don't take a shower for 7 days, if you put perfume, that is only going to mask it. But the moment the perfume wears off, you are going to stink. So what you have to do, you have to address the root cause by taking a shower and by cleaning yourself first. Only then you can control it. So same way, if you have a bad marriage, you just cannot have a kid to mask it. You need to tackle it from the root cause. That is how efforts has to be made. But in the Indian society, they being Indians, they are always happy with jugards, with stopgap arrangements. They think that if I bring a child, if I get pregnant, my problems will automatically solve. Bullshit theory. Kids are not going to fix your marriage. Take it from me. Kids are not trophies. They are projects of purpose. So many children, I mean, so many youngsters whom I counsel, all of them have one common grudge, that their parents are pressurizing them. As I told you already, that if you ask me what's the biggest cause of depression, it is not their relationships, it's not the jobs, it's not the financial thing, it is their parents, which is the biggest cause of depression. And this is, and you very well know why I'm saying that, because now is absolutely not the right time for you to bring out kids. Absolutely not. Because they, I mean, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying it's not the right time due to the factors. The biggest factors I've already mentioned so far, that people just look at finances. They just think that if I'm financially capable, if I can pay his school fees, if I can pay for his food, I should go ahead. But that's absolutely not how it's supposed to be. You should be thinking whether I'm emotionally capable, I'm capable by health, I'm capable by mind. These three things are the most important pillars of raising a child. But these three things are what majority of the Indian parents lack. These are the only problem with the Indian parents. I agree that even, I mean, if somebody works, they can get the money. So they can definitely provide financially. But that's not the only barometer by which you should judge to bring a child in the world. Now, my next point is the cost of raising a kid in 2025. If you are not ready to invest, don't reproduce. Why? I'll explain you. Education, healthcare, food, each and every aspect is up the roof, but your income is still the same. People are still struggling to make a decent living. Even if you're working in a corporate, in a job, your salary is paltry as compared to what people make elsewhere for that same amount of work. The work culture is toxic to say the least, and what you get out of it is even less. So the money is still there only, but your expenses have increased in 2025. You're earning money as per 2005, but your expenses are like least said the better. But when a child comes into the picture, so you are as it is struggling to support yourself and your wife. And when the third person, as in the child, comes into the picture, just imagine the financial burden which you are going to go through. Because as I'm repeating, in fact, my own guitar fees, suppose, though guitar is not a necessity, but many people now are putting their children for my academies to learn guitar. Even my guitar academic courses are so expensive. So you can imagine what is not necessary, even that is so expensive. So what is necessary, which is your formal education, that is definitely a necessity, right? And you, all of you know how expensive that is. I'm not talking about the hospital, childcare, healthcare, all these things. Just that education aspect, which is a recurring aspect, you have to pay. No, no two ways about it. So just imagine how expensive that is. And I'm not talking about the international schools. Those though you forget also. You don't have to go there. You don't have to go to that direction. But even if you're going to a normal school, education is like skyrocketed. So you can derive the conclusion yourself. Now, my next point is, the next question rather, which you need to ask yourself is, do you have a purpose driven environment? So the house where you wish to bring a child, the house where you wish to raise a child, is it a purpose driven? Does that house has a purpose driven environment? Or this is a house filled with conflicts, aggression, addictions, and unhealthy atmosphere? Or is your house giving the vibes of encouragement, hopes, purpose, dedication? If you look at my house, there is nothing negative because it's just me, my kids. My father shuffles between USA because he has a house in USA, as well as my brother stays in USA and here. So my father is like a guest, you can say. He's here, he's there. But it's me and my two kids. And all of you know me personally now. By now, you know me personally. You know my life spells only three words. It is encouragement. It is discipline. It is dedication. Nothing else. There are many more aspects. There is talent. There is empathy. There is finances. There are lots of many other aspects. But if you ask me for 3 points, the first 3 points will take the shape. So you can easily see that I have the resources to provide a house which is devoid of any negativity, any addiction, anything negative, any conflict, any aggression. My house has none of it. As you know, I don't have a single vice. So my house is perfectly productive to raising kids. You ask the answer, you ask the question to yourself. You will get the answer by yourself. You don't even need my approval. You don't even need my reply. You only think that in my house, if I can guide so many, if I can guide lakhs of people, can't I give a healthy environment to my own kids? Definitely I can give, because I am a man who spells, I mean, I have all the right habits. Since the past 4 years, I have did not have a single junk food. I go to bed at 9 along with my kids. I wake up at 4 or 5, though my kids don't wake up that early, they wake up late. But what, I mean, you can imagine the atmosphere they are growing up in. They see me going for running every morning. I go for my gym at 12. They see I'm leading a life of inspiration. They see I'm teaching kids. They see I'm counseling, because when I'm counseling on call, they are next to me. They are listening my each and every word, how I'm encouraging them, how I'm getting suicide people back, how I'm nursing suicide cases back to life. They are seeing, they are watching each and every aspect of mine, and everything is positive. They are seeing that I don't have a single vice, not a single day. I mean, not even a single bad habit I have. I mean, I don't call coffee and tea as bad habit, but I don't even have coffee or tea. That is the extent of the healthy living which I'm doing. So these are the questions which you need to ask yourself, that can I provide this kind of life, the life which I am providing my kids? If you think you can provide that life, as I said, decision you will have to make. I won't make the decision on your behalf, but I am giving you the points which you should consider and points which you should ask yourself. After that, automatically you will get the answer. So first point, I mean, in a nutshell about this point, if I have to explain you, ask yourself, the environment which I'll be giving my kids, is it conducive to maximum growth, or is it negative and filled with conflicts? Just ask yourself this question, and the answer which you get will give you the complete, that will aid in your decision. So my conclusion for today is, the right time is never external. The right time is never biological. If you're living a life of purpose, if you know what your purpose is, if you are mentally, emotionally, and financially strong, I repeat, if you are emotionally, mentally, and financially strong, because these three things are the pillar of parenthood. I am strong in these three aspects. That's why I am raising the kids confidently and in a very positive manner. So always remember, you have to be mentally, financially, and emotionally strong. So if you are strong, if you have a strong purpose in life, if you have a proper house, a proper environment basically, where you can give a good upbringing to your kids, if you have a house where there are no conflicts, suppose you are not in bad terms with your spouse, if you're not in bad terms with your parents for that matter, if you have a house which is conflict free, basically, suppose if you're fighting every day, if you're fighting day in and day out with your wife, that is not a house which is filled with peace. That is a conflict ridden house. So my point is, if you have a house where there are no conflicts, if you have a house which is positive, if you are physically, mentally, emotionally strong, then you can definitely consider. 100% you can consider. I'm not saying no. But if you're living life as per the flow, you're just living your life the way it is going. You don't have a purpose. You don't know where you will end. You don't know where your next meal will come from. You don't know what your next job will be. You're constantly changing jobs. You don't even know basically what I'm doing in this world. Basically, you're just going with the flow, because going with the flow, many youngsters say, that's why I'm saying, I've seen many young fathers who have just become fathers. They are saying, I just go by the flow. I don't think about anything. They are the ones who are going to fall very badly. Take it from me. So if you are a guy who is just going by that flow, those cool dudes who think they are cool by saying, hey, I just became a father. I don't know. I just became a father. God will see about everything. I just became a father. Bas, that's it. So when I ask them, do you have the finances? Do you have the resources? No, I don't have anything. But I will go with the flow. I will see what happens. They are the worst cases who are definitely going to give the worst upbringing to their kids. So if you belong to that kind of a person who just goes with the flow, who doesn't have a purpose, who doesn't know where they are going, who are just living like a vagabond, who are just living for the day, who are just living on a day by day basis. Today they got one income, they don't even know when their meal will come from tomorrow. If you happen to be in this, then don't make this biggest blunder of your life by bringing a child in the world. That's not your cup of tea. But as I said in the first point, I'm repeating because these are all a matter of life and death. Because such children will, it is better that they don't come in the world. So suppose if you are financially strong, if you have a good house, proper house in a good locality, good location, not in the places which is filled with unsculpted, which is filled with like antisocial elements, not that place. If you're living in a, for example, I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying that everybody has to buy houses, because I live in Union Park, which is the most elite locality, which is surrounded by the golf course, and only artists and industrialists stay here. Only celebrities and industrialists. My father is a industrialist, so there are many more industrialists. In fact, technically, when I'm an industrialist, I have a guitar factory. So you can imagine the atmosphere, the environment where my kids are growing up. I live in a huge 2100 square foot flat, duplex, all the rooms overlooking the golf course. So I'm just giving an example that I am giving the best possible place for my kids to grow. Best possible environment. They have open spaces, they have gardens, the rooms are huge, house is huge, just three people living in such a huge house. So you can imagine that I'm able to give. So you should think all these things, that whether I have that house, that place, that locality where I can give them a good upbringing, where there are good people around, that the place is not filled with antisocial elements that they will develop bad habits when they grow up, or which will give them a negative influence. So these things has to be considered. So after considering and taking into consideration all these points, if you think that you are mentally equipped, if you think that you don't have any addictions, because as I told you, I have quit all the addictions. The day my daughter was born, I had quit smoking. So none of my kids ever saw me even smoking. And since the past 4 years, I have quit drinking completely. I have quit junk food. So I'm leading by example. So if you think you have the mental strength to quit smoking, because if you are an addict, if you are addicted to, if you have vices, then having kids are not your cup of tea. You should never ever think of having kids. Even if you say that, no, I drink occasionally, I drink once a week, I drink twice a week. No, I would say. Because alcohol and raising kids does not go hand in hand. Neither does smoking, neither does drugs, neither does gambling. If you have any vices, don't bring a kid, I would say. Because you don't know. Today, if you are having drinks twice a week, even you don't know, it will become every day. It did for me. That's what I'm saying. I'm a guy who has been there, done that. Even I started with once a week, twice a week only, but it became every day. So don't give me that crap that I drink only twice a week so I can have a child. No, if you are addicted to any substance, including alcohol, don't bring a kid. As simple as that. Do your addiction, as in enjoy your life. Go for parties, drink till you pass out, no problem. But don't spoil the life of a child. If you are an alcoholic, if you are a drinker, no two ways about it. Don't bring a child. But suppose if you have no bad habits, you are strong financially, you have a good house, you have the financial capability to put them in good schools, you have a car, because the public transport infrastructure in our country, it's pathetic. Suppose if you have a car, because my children till date have never been in any public transport till date. They are 8 years and 6 years. In their entire 8 and 6 years, they have not been in any bus, train, or anything. So that's what I mean by saying that I don't want to put them in any public transport for their safety. I would rather drive them in my own car and take them wherever they want to go, but they should never go in any public transport. That's my motto. So if you think you can afford a personal car for their commute, if you're ticking all these right boxes, I would suggest go ahead. But to bring them in a life filled with misery, if you are not financially strong, but still if you decide to go ahead and give life to a birth, what I'm saying, if you decide to give life to a child, if you give birth to a child, that is absolutely not the right idea. Just because you are poor and you think that if I bring a child, that will change my luck, because that is what many of Indians think. Don't do that. Don't play with the life of an innocent child. Only if you're financially strong, if you're financially capable, if you think you can put them in the best schools, if you think you can have a car of your own, so that they don't have to, like, how the public transport is in India. You very well know. In Mumbai, it is pathetic, and I'm sure that's the case everywhere. So if you think that if you can give them a life where they don't have to, like, travel like that, then I think you can definitely give it a shot. But if you are not adhering to these points, still if you decide to go ahead, you are indulging in the biggest mistake of your life. Take it from me in writing. So you guys asked me a few questions. I've given you the answers. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask me. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.